I don't think I had a bad start in Moonlight Peaks, but looking back, I definitely didn't have the smartest one. There were so many mechanics to learn that I kept making little decisions without realizing how much they'd affect my progress later. And I found that out the hard way. Some mistakes cost me time, others cost me money, and a few completely changed how I approached the early game. So in this video, I'm sharing the biggest beginner mistakes I made, why they happened, and what I'd do differently now, including one mistake that looked harmless but affected almost everything that came after. First is not catching the soul blobs early on. Little did I know that this is how you can extend your in-game time. You see, I was terrified of using the bug net, and that's not just because of my weak aim, but also because of a bug that consumes your stamina even when you're not successful in catching any critter. And boy, do you need your stamina, especially early in the game. This bug has now been fixed on the PC, but I play on Switch, so it's not yet fixed in my game at the time of recording. Collect 15 soul blobs, and death will visit you, letting you know that you've unlocked this feature. And don't worry, the soul blobs are tracked in your compendium, so you don't have to manually remember how many soul blobs you've caught. I personally haven't caught all 100 soul blobs yet, but this is what my friends have shared with me. At the start of the game, there are just so many things to do, and extending the in-game time definitely helps. For me, I like decorating my farm and home, but I cannot for the life of me find the pause button while on decor mode, so the extension really helps. If I somehow missed the pause option, let me know in the comments. By the way, you can find the option to change the nighttime duration at the settings. My next mistake is only crafting items to sell. Aside from stamina, one of the early challenges in the game is earning coins. The items in the game can be a tad too expensive, especially early on. So every time I craft something, I always automatically sell it. But here's the thing. Stamina is also an issue in this game, at least for me. I am always running on empty by midnight. So what do? I buy the blood orange juice from Samael's bar. Because for 350, we get 110 stamina back. And compared to all other drinks from his and Mina's shops, this is the most value per coin. But what I really didn't consider is that you can get more stamina per coin when you craft it. I know, shocking. And it's available pretty early on. A no-star grape juice gives you 40 stamina, and you're only missing out on 100 coins each for not selling them, so I'd say it's more worth it than buying blood orange juice. Gazpacho soup is also pretty easy to make. However, in terms of value per coin, it's actually much better for you to just sell them and buy the blood orange juice instead. Here's a quick comparison. My next mistake is not crafting storage crates, because items placed in the crate don't get used in crafting or cooking, so it's a good way to use it as a locked chest where you can save gifts, quest items, or just any item that you don't want to use. In case you're not familiar, we have storage inside our home. On PC, it is available from the entire plot, including barns and greenhouses. You can place an unlimited number of items, and the best part is that any items placed here can be accessed and used in any crafting machines around your farm. It is the global storage system in this game. What it lacked, or I thought it lacked, was a locked chest or storage where you get to assign a chest that won't be included in that system, and that's where the storage crates come in. It did take me an embarrassingly long time to realize that, but at least now my items are safe. Now, if only there's a better looking storage crate. My next mistake is buying the well too early, because I later found out that you can buy a spell that costs just slightly more but much more convenient. For a quick background, you can find the well at Ridge's shop, and it lets you refill your watering can without having to go to the nearest body of water in the game, which is especially helpful if you have a large farm plot. I do find the capacity of the watering can to be really small, especially with my bad aim. I always miss a corner when watering. So I thought buying the well would save me so much time, and it did for a while. Then I finally got to learning my spells. And lo and behold, there's the spell called harmless. And it lets you refill your watering can without having to go anywhere, and it doesn't even cost you mana. If you haven't unlocked spells yet, just go through the main story quests. I triggered mine around mid-spring, and Luna will reach out to you about magical crops. And if you're not familiar, you can find the steps to cast each spell in the compendium. Just be patient, and it will show you the moves, and you'll see that for harmless, its steps are pretty easy. If you can wait, try to buy the spell instead of buying the well. It will save you more time and even space in your farm. That is unless you want the well for decoration, because it does have its charm. And if so, that's understandable. In the same vein, my next mistake is not visiting Web of Wonders or Sabrina's shop when I unlocked spellcasting, because there are so many spells that would have improved my quality of life in the game. I've mentioned harmless, but my next favorite is Ethereal Pickaxes, because it helps so much in breaking nodes and saves you a lot of time in getting resources. Some spells are also required in the main story. It just took me until then to learn them. I'm especially fond of Arbor Ascent as well because you get to have some form of control over where you can place your trees. I guess it's a sore spot for me because moving trees is definitely a challenge in other games. One thing to note though is that sometimes you can find things like this in the ground. They are tree seeds, and it took me a while to realize that you can use a pickaxe to get the seed, not a shovel. Going back, the challenge in using spells though is that similar to stamina, your mana is also pretty limited. What I do is cook the mana moon cupcake. It gives 20 stamina and 2 mana points. And I find it relatively easy to make. You just need moon fruit, mana essence, and flour, all of which are available all year round. You can also get the permanent additional mana, Arcane Flame. It helps in letting you cast more spells at a time instead of always trying to recover mana when your maximum is just 3. By the way, you can also find the bag upgrade in Sabrina's shop. I mainly toil around my farm most of the time, so I personally don't have the urgency to upgrade my bag since I'm conveniently near the house storage. But if you like foraging and find your inventory almost always full, this is where you get the upgrade. And it's not locked with any quest, so you can get it right away. And if you've learned at least 2 things so far, consider subscribing. I spend a lot of time digging through RPGs like Moonlight Peaks to find the tips that actually save you time, not just the obvious ones. So if that's your kind of content, I'd love to have you here. We already tapped a bit on it, but my next mistake is not buying the recipe books much earlier. You'll get more ways to restore mana and stamina, not to mention being able to make loved gifts for the villagers. At first I thought they were pretty expensive, but as you make some yourself, they will pay for themselves in terms of sellables and the convenience of loved gifts. You see, a lot of the villagers love flowers, but flowers get pretty scarce after spring, and I personally use them for beehives. While you have to find out what they like, a lot of it are things you can craft and cook, and some recipes are from cookbooks. One other bias I have is that you get to place the items around your home and farm. And it's just so lovely as a decoration. One of my goals is to fill my place with cute desserts. It's definitely worth it in my opinion. Avoiding mistakes is only half the story. If you're wondering what you should be spending your time and money on instead, the next video breaks down the strategies that worked best for me and the upgrades that paid off early. Go check it out.